Okay, this one might be a little long. There seems to be some confusion about chamber sizes and what works and what doesn't. So this is what's commonly referred to as a pin gauge. Where the hell's my, there we go. That's a 452, it's upside down. See that? 452. I'm using a Kerr cylinder that's been cut down and kind of a pile of junk, but it works perfectly for what I'm trying to do here. So I want to show you that if we force a bigger lead ball into a smaller hole, it then becomes, give or take a thousandths or two, the same size as that hole. Does that make sense? So I'm going to use a 454 ball first. Okay. If I can find the hole. Whoa, here, just lean over. Okay. And I'm going to use this cylinder because it's easy for me to get the ball out of once it goes through. So now I'm going to tap that 454 ball down that hole, okay? Now I'm going to take a 457 ball and I'm going to put it down the next hole. Now the 457 ball and the 454 ball, even though there's 2 thousandths, it's still cut a little bit of lead, okay? That's 454 and 452 and a 457 into 452. Okay, let me reposition this. So there's our balls. Who wants to guess what size they are? This one's the 454, okay? It only touched on that ring. If I get it positioned here, you can see the ring, okay? And guess what? It's 452 and a half. Okay, now here's a 457. I'm going to grab it by the ring. Pardon me, because I can't do this on camera. It's just physically impossible. Okay. There we go. Hey, look, it's 452 and a half. 452. So I'm trying to prove something here that ought to be science and not hearsay. If you take a 451 ball and you put it in a 443 chamber, which is typically the size of the most current ones, and you push it down in there and it shaves a ring of lead, okay, repeat after me. It becomes a 443 ball. The ring of lead falls off. The ring of lead does not keep you from having a chain fire. Chain fires, anybody that really knows cap and balls will tell you, happen at the back end. Chain fires happen from cap to cap because of loose caps. Chain fires don't happen at the front end. They happen at the back end. The ball size is always going to swedge itself or cut itself to the chamber size. You only need a couple thousandths interference fit there. That's why I make 455 chambers for 457 balls for 454 guns. Simple, single action terminology. Colt does the same thing. Colt second and third gen guns, 44 caliber, their chart that they published back in the 70s says to use a 457 ball. The reason why it says to use a 457 ball is because when you plug gauge the chambers, they're 455. And if you run a ball through the barrel and mic it, it comes out 454. That's the correct setup for these guns. The Italians just make them the way they do because they cut the bore size before it's rifled to 440 whatever, and they cut the chamber size to the same size. That's why it's called a 44. But when you rifle it, you have to add to the dimensional diameter. So if you add 5 thousandths deep rifling, which most of them have now, that's 10 thousandths. If you use a 444, 445 bore, and you add 10 thousandths to it, you have 455. 5 thousandths each way. 5 thousandths really isn't enough groove for a black powder pistol. In the old days, they were like 7 to 8 thousandths deep each way. That's 16 thousandths added to that bore. Yes, the ball will gain a little size, but not that much. You're deforming the front end and the back end, but you're not making the center necessarily grow because it's already in there. It's already up against the rings, not the lands. It's up against the bore. And you want to swedge it into those lands. That's it. Simple physics.